Good morning, everybody. It looks like Rumble is down. It just gave me the notification that you guys at Rumble aren't getting a stream. Sorry about that, guys. Hello, Maximilian. Mobile setup should be doing just fine with Rumble, so I'm guessing it is an internal issue with Rumble for those that are watching. Hello, Florida CB. Not a real vacation, but I could use a real vacation. That is for certain. I'm getting a heck of a education down here, though. That is absolutely for certain. Hello, brother Halcyon. Hello, Kathy. Hello, Bernard. Yeah, wait a minute. I love this one. Bernard said, if shutting the Nord Stream pipeline was to punish the Russians, then who was being punished by shutting down the Keystone pipeline? Right? Stop with the common sense. Hello, Proud Arab. Hello, Orb Mac. Hello, CNED. Captain D. Hello, Beach Nut. Hopefully, all those Rumble folks find us over here with Rumble not happy this morning. Could be internet here. Who knows? Hopefully, you guys can see me and hear me. Should have Mr. C fairly soon. Hello, Bill Chabla. Hello, Evelyn. Hello, George and Sissy and Barry and Bulldog. Please, yeah, Tdez, Twitch does take, yeah, it does. Hello. It's actually a Airbnb condo. It's all right. The pictures were taken of it were awfully flattering, that's for certain. But it's clean. It's safe. Hello, hello, Sissy. Hello, Tdez. All right. Looks like a number of people from Rumble have found us over on the Twitch side. Good, good, good. Hello, Rob and Anita. Let's do this one. Kathy Lee can hear me just fine. My YouTube punishment, it was 2 weeks, so it ends. What does that put it at, guys? Next Thursday, I think. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday is when it ends. Yeah, pretty certain that's it. Hello, Desert Sky. All right, guys, let's see. Let's just dive in. Hello, Peach. Not a whole lot of news. I know a lot of you guys would like more news. Pretty quiet. Now, we do have bond folks disappearing. I mean, like, totally disappearing. Like, numbers canceled disappearing. And I am hoping that means we have some NDAs on the bond side. Haven't been able to confirm any real money with my contacts. I'm still getting it from other folks that know people with bonds that they are, but I'm not getting it from mine. Iraq hasn't changed. All eyes there are still sometime between now and the 26th. They do have a number of frozen assets in Iraq because the rate has not changed. So they are getting pushed hard by international agencies to go ahead and pull a trigger and change a rate. Just buckle up, guys. We're in the last days of this thing. Just watch it play out, even though it's not comfortable. Now, unfortunately, that's about it on the news side. Okay, Flynn stated on Rumble that Putin is taking down the New World Order. Wow, Flynn, that's brave words coming out of his mouth. Hello, David. I'm glad you found us over here. Where did it go? I don't have all bonds being paid yet. Well, matter of fact, I can absolutely assure you that all bonds have not been paid yet. Hey, somebody just asked me if I had a choice between XRP and XRM. I'd take XRP, especially with all of the news lately on the XRP side. It has been fantastic. Debbie, the weather in Puerto Rico, lows about 72, highs about 84. Pretty much wash, rinse, and repeat 365 days a year. The weather is something else. Texas Dad, it's good to see you. Jerry, you found us. Good to have you. Lisa, not a whole lot of rest yet just because of travel, but I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Buddy says, then I should tell Dinar recap. But one, never, ever, 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 ever. I mean, all they're doing is taking pieces and parts on the aggregating sites. Do I think they do a better job than any of the other news aggregating sites? Yes. But unless you hear it directly from that person's mouth, don't give it but so much credence. Also, prayers for Frank. Hearing he is having Frank 26 is having emergency surgery today. So prayers that way. Dr. Thunder, that is huge, and thank you. Haven't had a chance. Don't think I'll get any time for a tan this week. It'd be awfully nice though. Let's see. Some troll just asked me a question. It may not be a troll at all. I don't know. Hold on here. Looking for it. It was too quick. Somebody asked me about what I was doing in the PR work, guys. You know, I write about currencies and those things, and this is becoming the crypto capital of the world. I have a number of meetings and such, people to talk to while I am down here. It's a whole new world. Digital finance, decentralized finance, all of those. Trying to keep up with your comments. It's really tough in this setup. Looking. Big moves for Russia on the crypto front. Now I'm ready for Mr. C when he calls. Hopefully he has found us. Somebody sent me a picture of Home Depot where the signs on the register saying cards only, no cash. Boy, that's a scary thought. In the real world news, while we wait for Mr. C, though, we've got a couple of interesting things. One, New York Times, very liberal. Them, Washington Post, Politico, Axios, a couple of the most liberal rags out there, guys, have confirmed that the laptop by Biden by Hunter is accurate and part of a number of lawsuits. I thought that one was a big piece of news. Hello, Mr. C.
Good morning, Mark. Congratulations.
Yeah, I don't know if congratulations is the right word or not, but hey, at least the weather's nice down here.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Super. It's interesting. I think I realized you were there this week. I thought you were there last week, but that's okay. No problem.
So what do you have going on fun? I mean, I know we're getting lots of reports. I can't find any of my personal contacts that have received any bond dollars other than a few they've paid, a very fraction of a percent to keep them in place. Do you think there's any chance that all of these bond folks have been paid or maybe paid in fiat by some people out there just cruising to pick up some historic bonds and then resell them? What do you think's going on that front?
Well, if they're being paid, they're not being paid that much. I've seen items from the quote-unquote gurus that are saying they're being paid in total, but that makes no sense to me because it allows the fiat robbers, the banks, and the rats to steal the money, which they can do obviously easily, and recapitalize. So it makes no sense to me that the Chinese, the Dragon, and Interpol, etc., would allow that to occur. So either it's constructive receipt or they're just flat out fibbing.
Yeah, I think probably constructive conceit in a small enough amount to keep legitimate players there. Yeah, no part of me thinks it's been a mass rollout at this point yet, though. That's for certain.
Really? No, I have been advised this week that things are supposed to happen like Wednesday night. But what's interesting, there's an item that I sent out to you this morning and a few others with regard to Rose Rambles, talking about Delta Force seizing the deep state stronghold at Weather Mountain, or Mount Weather, as they call it, which is the operator of the emergency broadcast system. They also call it the National Radio System, FRARS. And apparently it's set up like NORAD out west, where they had the huge 13-ton doors, etc. But apparently it was stormed just yesterday and taken over. And therefore, if that is true, we are looking at the possibility of this thing happening very, very soon, because now they can do it. They can actually broadcast on EBS without interference. What's also interesting to me is that this facility had the capability of housing 800 or more people, and it was apparently the last underground facility available to the rats to make their getaway should they start World War III. Now, according to Wikipedia, see it that way, the above ground complex is 434 acres in the Blue Ridge Mountain area, which is coincidentally outside Loudon, Virginia, one of the base camps of the rats.
Yes.
And the underground area B, is 600,000 square feet.
That is huge.
So it's huge, and this was also what they call a former executive branch substitute. So they had one in West Virginia, and then they built one. This is less than 50 miles away from DC itself. So I think now that the last refuge has been taken away, the control of the EBS, emergency broadcast system, is now in the hands of the good guys. And the fact that Zelensky has pretty much relinquished control idea that Ukraine will never become a NATO participant or member, and has conceded to Putin. Now, this morning on Fox, they made a mad scramble to make sure that a public broadcast was made yesterday in Ukraine, and by Zelensky, and now they're saying, oh no, it was fake. So who the heck knows? But it's very interesting, the timing on all this. So we may be on the verge of this thing happening.
Interesting timing. I'm always a little hesitant because the stories also appeared in Real Raw News, which I think gets used to spread some accurate with some of the misinformation, because that way they can put it out there even if it's factual, and people are like, yeah, okay, we don't pay attention, but then they can turn around and say, hey, we told you all about it.
Right. What I find interesting here is Rose Rambles is questionable, yes. That's why I say, if true, a fantastic event. But Rose Rambles is also where we're getting information regarding the adjudication operations down in Gitmo with the names of real people who are adjudicating the rats. So I take it with the small grain of salt, but even so, that's a good indicator.
No, it is. It is a good indicator. Let's see. Huge Axelrod. How many more years can this go on? Not everyone's troll. I don't think everyone's a troll. Huge Axelrod. It's going to go on as many years as it takes to get it done. This is much bigger than you and I being a little uncomfortable in our pocketbook because it's taken too long. Ask Mr. C his thoughts on that one.
Very true. It's been 32 years for me. So if I survive, it could go another 32 years, because we're talking about control of the world and wrestling it from people who have had controls for over 2,000 years. So it's a long haul, a long fight. But I think we're at the end of it since the early 2000s. Things have started to roll for the good guys in a positive manner. So I think that's a good idea. It's a good thing. But it goes along as long as the Golden Dragon believes that the money is not safe. As soon as he believes the money would be safe upon the release, it's going to go down.
I mean, we've already seen it. Some folks in there asking about why do some countries have already moved to gold. In my opinion, some countries have pushed it because they want to force the hand on this. They know that the more progress alternative ways of paying and using money, not needing a central bank, asset-backed currencies, it is going to force them to pull the trigger. Otherwise, the rats will continue to print fiat money, come up with different ways to get around it for as long as they possibly could. That's my take on that one. What do you think of all the financial moves like that? Gold-backed ruble, putting coins in the hands of Russian people, the gold-backed dinar.
Well, actually, I think it's a good thing. And I don't see it contrary to the gold treaty, because each country has its own authority to issue domestically gold-backed currency as long as they can support it domestically. But they are not going to push the gold treaty into place because they are not reserve currencies. The reserve currency is the U.S. dollar. And the only way the U.S. dollar can go down is if the corporation, the USA Inc., goes down, goes bankrupt totally, across the board, internationally known. The dollar goes out of existence. The codes come to me. Fiat goes away. Gold-backed currency is backed by the gold bullion, released by the Golden Dragon. That is the mechanics. That's the way it works. Now, I've seen reports that SWIFT is gone and the QFS system is operating. It's all BS, man. Because Interpol told me specifically, the new system cannot go into effect until the codes are released, the gold is released, and the gold-backed currency is on parity around the world. At that point, SWIFT is gone. Until that time, SWIFT is a fiat operation. As long as you got fiat in your pocket and you're trading on fiat, it is here.
We're seeing that. I mean, Wells Fargo partnering with Ripple to do away with SWIFT. Swift is on its deathbed.
That is true. It's on its deathbed. But the banks don't own SWIFT. That's what's interesting about this. This is a compilation of banks. It's basically was set up by the rats as a corporation. So they don't own it. They use it. It's a communication system. But under the Swiss laws, they're allowed to play with your money. Now, that has been pretty much curtailed because of the operation by the Interpol and with the Golden Dragon. But they don't control SWIFT. SWIFT is a communication system. Without SWIFT, they can't communicate with each other, and therefore they can't do international trade, and that's not going to happen until the new system goes into effect.
So how does not using SWIFT affect this? In other words, if they all go to the new format where they're using XRP for the backbone, they can handle all their transfers within milliseconds, not needing the central bank. Does that help the central bank fall any quicker?
No, because every country is relying upon the central bank to feed them money. Period. End of story. That's where it's coming from. And all the central banks are reliant upon the Fed Reserve to feed them money, digital dollars, digital cash. There's no other money in the world for this. None.
Now,
unless you go to gold-backed ruble or gold-backed yuan.
How about the banks themselves? If they can't take advantage of the money that's stuck in the SWIFT system to earn interest, what does that do to them? I mean, in other words, how uncomfortable does it make the profit margin at some of the big international banks?
But they can take advantage of the SWIFT system. That's why the SWIFT system still exists.
Yeah, as they're moving away from it, I guess. And in other words, as they're testing new systems.
Okay, all right. When you go to the new system, the QFS, there is no central bank, etc. There are treasury banks, and there is no SWIFT communication system. There's no SWIFT rules. It's all based upon the source of funds, use of funds, and each individual is in control of their money. That takes away the bank's abilities to use the funds without your permission. XRP and all this other garbage is still based upon the SWIFT system. And it's what nobody wants to understand. Nobody really cares. They say, well, SWIFT is gone. The banks they're going to change. No, they're not. Because the rats are still in charge. I mean, come on. I've never yet seen a banker who can say, oh, gee, I'm not going to steal today. Come on.
It's like the rare honest lawyer, or the honest politician.
Yeah, there's no such thing right now, and that's evident in Congress and evident in every other country around the world because they still haven't kicked them out. So that's Casera and Lacera. So all this kicks in the same time, but the basis of it all is money. The basis of all that is the QFS with the gold codes released, and all currencies beyond parity. End of story.
Let's see. Ronald, exact same time here as it is on the East Coast. Atlantic Standard is during daylight savings is the same as East Coast time zone. Somebody just asked me the time zone here, Mr. C.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else? Before I forgot, because I launched you right into questions today, is there anything you wanted to comment before we got started this morning and I just changed you right up?
That's okay. The only thing I really had was thank yous for Greg L. And I know he's been sick, and I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope he gets better. But I appreciate his note and his concern. Walter, obviously, thank you. And Lyman, thank you much. I do appreciate it, and hope you're doing okay. Basically, that is about it, Mark. I really didn't have anything on the soapbox today.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, we also hear a lot about SIPs. Is that also probably controlled by rats, just a different set of rats?
No, that's the new operation that China put in place to take us to the QFS. That's a very fast transfer system, but that's only regarding the yuan.
Which certainly opens up other settlement options. I know that Russia went ahead and paid with rubles anybody that wanted their debt paid in coupons and said, if you want to cash it, you can cash it. If not, you want to keep playing your lockdown games, go right ahead.
That's correct. That's correct. I must apologize. My daughter's having a tough time today, so you probably hear her in the background. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. We actually have not heard her yet. There's enough noise in the background here. They waited all morning to start doing street work.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, anyway, China did the SIPs with their alliance, and that's basically a yuan back, gold back scenario. Ruble is different, but by treaty they have a bilateral treaty that allows them to trade. I believe also on SIPs, but that's just one-on-one. That is not a worldwide system.
Have you heard anything on CMKX? I'm certain that's a question I'm going to get at some point, so figured I'd head it off the pass.
No, I have not. It's been very, very quiet. I've been busy on other things and starting to write again on the book, but I've not heard anything about CMKX or anything else, really.
Let's see. 2K9 wanted to know. No, I am on the south side of San Juan, the city, so not very close to the beach. So do you think March is still a possibility? Are you timing wise, some people in there just kind of getting your feel? I know it's just a gut. It's not anything in writing. It's not solid or concrete. It's just your gut.
Well, boy, that's a good one. It could be at any time. I believe personally that it's based upon whether Putin succeeds in cleaning up Ukraine. Ukraine is the absolute last vestige of the rats' money laundering and bribery operation. And you notice he wants to spend another billion, another $2 billion, Biden over there because they get a piece of it. And I'm very happy to see. And there was another thing that Rose Ramble put out this morning as to why Putin fired some of his generals and FSB operators because they were in cahoots with Biden and the rest of them, why he sanctioned Biden. It shuts off their flow of money in the Russian-controlled territories of Ukraine and Russia. But once Ukraine is sealed and Putin has finished and has control of the financial operations of Ukraine, then I think this is going to go down. Now, that could happen anytime now, this weekend, next week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, I have no idea. But I believe that is necessary for that to happen.
Yeah, no, I do too. Some interesting articles over the last day or two, even coming out of the Pentagon. One of the ones we are supposed to believe is that they had no, how do I put this? They have no association with those labs, even though they fund them, and there are Pentagon contract workers in the labs in the Ukraine working. But they're saying, but they have nothing to do with them. To me, that's like yeah, I've got nothing to do with it. I paid $80 million. I sent a lot of contract workers over there, but I really have nothing to do with it. We don't do any of that. We just spent the money, hired the workers, put them over there, put them under our contracts, but we don't have anything to do with it. That is literally the spin they are taking right now.
That's really BS. And in fact, Lieutenant General Kellogg was on Fox this morning saying, "Oh, those aren't the big labs. They're lower level labs." BS, man. That's BS. They were actually developing all kinds of smallpox, etc. And that's according to the U.S. Embassy. Come on, which has since scrubbed their sites. But we know for a fact that the COVID operation came out of the Pentagon with CDC. We know for a fact that it was financed by the Pentagon, the missing money under Roosevelt. We know for a fact that this happened in the early 2000s, 2007, 2014, in that area. So we know, and we also know that Fauci was the one who was the conduit from the CDC, Camp Perry, or Camp, was it Frederick? In Maryland, I believe, over to Canada, over to China. So how do we know they didn't also do it in Ukraine? We have no facts. And the propaganda that we're getting out of all the MSM, including Fox, is that, oh, Putin is the bad guy and there's nothing wrong and they're fighting for freedom. No, they're not. They're fighting the rats who are in control of that government put up by Obama. Come on. Somebody's got to get down to the real facts. And actually, I'm very, very disappointed in Fox not showing two sides of a conflict. I really, really am. They're no better than Goebbels.
Well, I mean, think about that one. Other than the occasional tirade by Tucker Carlson, that's about all you get out of Fox. I mean, you got their second biggest name, Hannity, is out there just beating the war drums. No fly zone. We should send arms, military. We should do it all. You got Democrats doing the same thing. The neo war con, or the what should we call them? The war neocons are downright scary, in my opinion. The same. Anyway, I don't even know where to go on that one without just.
Well, thank God for Tucker. I'll tell you that. He's the only one out there standing and telling some the truth, the verifiable truth that he can find. And I think it's fantastic. We need more of people like him, but we need somebody. Fox is the Murdochs, and Murdochs they're getting caught up because they also enjoy that flow of money coming from Ukraine, etc. So, I mean, really, it's interesting that Tucker Carlson has been able to survive this far in describing the counter side to what's going on. But yeah, it's very interesting to me. I give kudos to the guy.
I'm with you on that one. I also, you've got Biden calling Putin a war criminal for invading Ukraine. By those same definitions, do we look at former U.S. leaders when we have invaded other countries? Bombing Hiroshima, it's Iraq. Pick a country that we have invaded because we didn't like what was going on there. Does that make all of our past presidents and our administration war criminals by the same definition? And two, I mean, now that Biden has come out and said that about Putin, even though he kind of messed up, he was like, no, I'm not going to say that. And then asked a different way, he's like, yes, I think he's a war criminal. Hey, how do you ever sit down at a negotiating table in good faith again after you've gone to that level of rhetoric? For me, I wouldn't even waste my time sitting down with them if I were a foreign leader. I would literally laugh in their face and say, you're useless. Nothing you say can be believed. There's no place to move from here. Why are we even having a conversation?
Well, it is kind of interesting that both Bush administrations, the Clinton and the Obama administration, all of them refused to recognize the authority and the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court. Now all of a sudden, Biden is saying, "Oh, the International Criminal Court, there is a war criminal." By the same token, Biden is a war criminal. Come on, he's funding operations to kill Ukrainians before the invasion by Putin, so by the labs, etc. So it's very interesting. It's all semantics as far as I'm concerned right now, because we need to adjudicate them, in particular for crimes against humanity. And we can go into the subject area, but I'll put you on the razor blade, Mark.
Right. um, Looking at some of these comments, getting a kick out of them. A lot, somebody just mentioned it's all show, one parade. I think a lot of it is show at this point. It's how much can they wake us up? That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Nothing else is logical. So what do you think? What's the chance of that? What do you think a lot of what we think is crazed deep state or whatever is just actors playing their part so that everybody will see it become so plain that you can't help but rise up or be opinionated?
Well, I was looking again. It's difficult for me to watch Fox, but occasionally I will watch a segment, and it's interesting. On the 10th of March, there was a forum at Yale University, the law school in particular, about the ability of to have a free speech discussion, pro and con, and 200 or so students. Law students attended and shouted them down and said they cannot have a free speech discussion. And these are our future leaders, supposedly. As far as I'm concerned, totally, anybody from Yale right now, educated in this system, should be disqualified from serving in government, coming up with a new government. But what I look at is, yeah, it's a farcical show, but if they can rule the mind, like I said, Goebbels, I'll tell you, it's really interesting. What we're seeing is the results of what Goebbels did with Germany in the 1930s, late 29 and early 30s, all the way through World War II. The strongest Nazis were those that came up through that Nazi school system and believed that Hitler was their father. I mean, what are we looking at right now? We're looking at wokeism. We're looking at and I think Mark Levin is right. This is Marxism totally, where they hate America, they want to kill America, they want to make us a Marxist country, and they're doing it through the school system. And that somebody's believing Goebbels right down the line, and we've got to change that totally. And that started with Bush W. when he got the core curriculum out there, and they basically dissolved the American education system. So, yeah, it's a farce.
It's absolutely nuts. So, your thoughts? Putin and Trump joint conference this evening. I mean, think about this one. Biden refuses to talk to him, and Trump's going to have a conversation with him. Is this maybe they're going to come out and say, "Okay, guys, this is what really has been going on," or is it just political theater?
I don't believe they're actually going to state the facts. That's not Trump's way. They're going to do the action and then talk about it. They're not going to talk about what they're going to do. That's Biden's operation. I don't know. Basically, I think it's theater right now because I don't see the efficacy of it. Putin has been labeled by the mass media around the world as being the bad guy. No matter what Trump does or says, is not going to change that persona at this point, not until the true evidence comes out. And I don't see that happening until these people are adjudicated. So I was not aware they were going to speak, but I don't think it's going to. I think it's mostly going to be fluff.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what happens with it. Find out if it's going to have any meat or just another huge nothing burger, which unfortunately we're getting too used to. TikTok I've noticed the Biden administration literally has brought like younger TikTok influencers and stars, called them up, made them feel real important, joint, huge Zoom call for these, future influencers so that they could get them to share their talking points on the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Your thought? I mean, this is wag the dog circa 2022 as they were playing these games. It's crazy to watch this. It's World War III is definitely one of the mind. It is all propaganda.
There was an old story, which I don't know how many people have actually read, Fahrenheit 451, where they had people participate in television programs, and it was just a script. And in fact, whatever they put in didn't matter because they just continued on. They just space. And these non-educated boobs who are out there voicing what Biden is putting out is just absolutely insane. They're only showing their stupidity, and it's unfortunate to me. I look at it and I cringe when I see these young people how they're being used.
No, I do too. It's horrendous to see them. They feel so important because they got that call from the White House and they are just getting used. That is like the pedophiles they just caught in Polk County, and a number of them Disney employees. They just, I mean, just getting used. Um, and they're not smart enough to realize they're getting used, and the effect they have on everybody else is scary.
I'm sorry. They're not smart enough, and that's the unfortunate thing. I mean, these are not really young kids. These are supposed to be somewhat educated people, and they're not aware that they're being used. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. They don't get it. Unredacted's calling it television programming. Yeah, they are obvious about it, and that is how scary it's gotten. They don't even hide it anymore that's what they're doing. It's right out in the open, and these people are so desperate to not have to admit that they have been brainwashed, fooled, and used that they will continue even after everybody knows. It's like that breakup in a relationship where the other side was cheating, and you've been, everything has gone wrong. The person was all the evil they said, but you denied it for so long that you're still in it, even though it is absolutely and utterly broken. It's easier for you, rather than to admit everybody you were wrong, to sit there and pretend they don't know that it happened. It's crazy to watch it.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. I'm supposed to ask you if you would take a phone call from G. Edward Griffin. I have no idea who G. Edward Griffin is.
I have no idea either. I talk to anybody. It doesn't matter. My phone line's out there. Everybody can call.
Whew, yeah, that just went south. I'm not sharing that one unless you do. Let's see. Real truthers. I'm trying to find some other good questions. Evergreen Container Ship, another one we announced a couple of days ago in the Chesapeake Bay. What's coincidence that we have this many stuck container ships at one time, all from Evergreen?
I don't think so. There's a plan there somewhere to cause an incident to create a war.
Cheyenne said, Mark, I'm in the oil and gas industry. Had a meeting yesterday with my company. They told us prepare for the industry to bust wide open. Huh. I assume when he means bust wide, or Cheyenne means bust wide open in a positive way instead of coming unglued around our ears. At least that's what I hope.
I do too.
Oh man, this is why I should have gotten this one. The Creature from Jekyll Island was written by G. Edward Griffin. That is a classic. Okay, that's where the name sounded familiar, but I didn't place it. Yeah, that would be a fascinating conversation to put together.
Yes, it would. I know folks right now who have been recently to Jekyll Island for various meetings, so it's very interesting.
Now that would be absolutely fascinating to be able to be a fly on the wall if you guys did have that conversation.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Diamond for you. Dr. Mordecai Kiter, well-known Israeli university professor and Middle East expert, in recent days have been receiving information from Iraq about an Iranian plan to copy what Putin is doing to Ukraine to invade and take control of the Kurdish region in Iraq, claiming that Israel is turning this area into a base of intelligence and operational activities against Iran. The Iranians' assumption is that the world will not go out of its way to liberate the Kurdish region, just as it probably will not. I am really surprised they haven't already divvied up the world. Like, all right, U.S. gets Venezuela, China gets Taiwan. I mean, I'm really surprised they just haven't chopped it up, because other than rhetoric, nothing is going on.
Well, the U.S. may not do anything, but I'll guarantee that Israel will place some very interesting nuclear weapons or bombs in Iran. I don't think that's going to happen as long as Israel has the weapons.
Yeah, I think, you're probably right on that one. No, tell me this isn't true. Corey said both Evergreen container ships were driven by the same captain that were stuck. I'd have a tough time with that one. Maybe it's true. That's a scary thought. Just incompetence, and they let them drive yet another ship or captain another boat.
Well, it's interesting. If you do deep research on Evergreen, you'll find that it goes back to the origination of a lot of different things. The various groups that were formed after World War II, like the Genesis Group, which is banking and financial. Evergreen, Oregon is Portland, Oregon, in that area, and Evergreen Corporation. That's Boeing. I mean, it's a very interesting study if you go back to it. Part of my thesis was based on that.
Oh, I didn't know that one. Barbara said, have heard many biolabs in the U.S. too. Are they being taken out? You got to ask yourself, with our government, you can't trust anything they say. No, we don't have them. Okay, here's all the documentation we do. Well, we're not involved with them. Oh, wait a minute. We hired all the employees and paid for them. So, I mean, you have to constantly ask yourself, anytime the government tells you something, whether it is true or not, or at least I have to ask myself that question. Yeah, I think it was Captain Gilligan for Evergreen. For those that don't know, Gilligan's Island is a small island right off the southern coast of Puerto Rico, where they filmed all of those things. So it seems apropos that we're discussing Gilligan in charge of those, why I'm so close to Gilligan's Island. Maybe we can go do some recruiting.
Going back to the biolabs in the USA, remember, we don't have a government. We have a corporation running a government. And that corporation says, we either control you, own you, or you're dead. So that's why it's easy for them to set up the labs. That's why it's easy for them to require various things to happen to you that make you die. They don't care. They either own you, control you, or you're gone.
Yeah, I like this one. Richard wants to trade the Nothing Burger for a Nacera Burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all would like that one.
So do I.
Oh, geez, Viva Libre, this is not going to go well for you. Hopefully the wife doesn't see the comment. Just said watching the Evergreen captain reminds him of watching his wife try to parallel park.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Let's see. Maria said, I'm a truck driver and was just told by my company to make sure that I did not pass my fuel stop today, that the prices are going up tonight. I have not seen it. What is the price per barrel now? I know somebody out there is going to comment or will know or be able to search it. I don't have the 3 computers in front of me that I normally have for these things.
Let's see. Oil. I just had that. Oil future right now is at $103.25.
Okay. So it's back over 100.
Yeah, that's crude. Brent is 106.
Yeah, easier to refine. Negative is, because it's easier to refine, you don't get as many of the paraffins and the additional things that you need. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this one again. Biden needing to be, a number of people are like, hey, look, don't even look for it until Biden's already removed. Do we have to wait for him to be gone, or is that all going to be at the same time? A lot of new folks are like really confused. Hey, wait a minute. As long as this charade's going on, is anything going to happen?
Within a 2 hour time span, I've been told by Interpol that from them coming to see me, they will start perp walking the rats, and that includes Biden, so the biggies. So he can be in until they come see me, and then at that point he's gone.
Okay, why bonds first? And this whole as it appears they want to do bonds, settlements, reset. What's the logic of that?
Well, there's a schedule, and historical bonds were always supposed to be first. But the problem they ran into after 2016 and really after January 2021 is that the rats are able to capture those funds even while they're at the bank right now and use them. So they can only really give constructive receipt, which means you can't really access it to a large degree, possibly even to any degree. You can see it, but you can't use it. And then when bonds go out, then you've got your fines, interest, and penalties, your prosperity packages, your CMPX, and all that. And during the time, the schedule used to be for the 72 prosperity programs. Once they hit Omega, it was supposed to be 70% of Omega. Then they come see me, but I think they've advanced that schedule a bit. I know that's some of the changes they made in what they call a protocol change, but they didn't change the protocols primarily. But there's a schedule here of things that they have to do in order to get the machine stopped and turned around and restarted with the gold-backed currencies.
So how you feeling on the whole as we see those government changes and the move to NACER? Are you feeling like we're 8 out of 10 on the way there? Are we getting close to seeing the NACER changes?
I think we're close. I really do. I was happy. Many people were upset about this thing with Ukraine and Putin, but I was happy that Putin went in and had the guts to take out these sites and take out the because when you look at it, they could have started a massive pandemic for real, not just COVID, but for real, with anthrax, etc. And it would have wiped out a lot of Europe and probably even a good portion of the U.S. So I'm very happy they went in at that time and took them out. But it's necessary for that to occur. And again, going back to 2013, the Gold Treaty was signed on March 21st, 2013. The Moscow Agreements were signed in Petersburg in August of 2013, so that Putin and Xi could do anything necessary across the board to make this happen, to make the Gold Treaty be effective. Now that's no different than the NDSTs that Reagan signed when he and Bush Sr. were in office. Anything goes. Anything we can do, we will do to destroy the Soviet Union. They're doing the same exact things now against the corporation. So I was very happy. But when you sit down and look at this, we're now moving at an advanced pace towards Casera. We're now moving at a very advanced pace for Gold Treaty. So I'm real pleased about it.
That's kind of my take on this one. I can finally, it's no longer just talk. I'm watching this thing play out. Yes, I want it much faster than it's going. Yes, I want it right now. But we're getting to see tangible parts of this occurring, which excites me. Rick just asked, are farm claims going to go first? My understanding it was bonds, then farm claims was going to be the first before the rest of the prosperity packages go. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, as I was told, the farm claims are absolutely first, and then it was with farm claims / bonds. I mean, to me it makes a difference because historically the families were going to take care of the bonds, but they presumed that they were going to have gold-backed currency to be able to do it with. And as I said, since 2013, 2016, and 2020, things have changed a lot in what they're thinking about how to do it, because the rats have evidence that they are so desperate they're willing to do anything to stop this. So they've got to make sure that when it goes down, they have the controls to make sure that the rats cannot make it go sideways. They have to make sure that they get them contained and taken down.
Absolutely. Let's see, Skier Apple. Well, no, that one's not it. Janel, I did the news very first thing like normal. Look for the news banner if you rewind it. I want a golden monkey on my back. I would take my gold that way too. Oh, geez, I'm reading some of these comments. Some of them, as much as I agree with, I can't say anything. A lot of chatter out there that Putin has already pulled the trigger on Jazeera inside of Russia itself. I don't see how he can just pull it in one country. What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of people are looking at the firings and the jailings of various folks inside the FSB and inside the banking system, in Russia itself, which is fine. I mean, he just told us the other day he's going to get rid of all the scum and the Nazis. Well, Chris Story had it right. These people are Nazis. They're the DVD. They are the Fifth Reich, whatever it is, Fourth, Fifth Reich, whatever. They're the continuation of World War II to destroy America, and that's what it's about. If you go back to his book is just unreal, about the underground and all that. It's really something, but he described it very accurately, and I thought he was a little off kilter when I first started talking to him, but now it's in retrospect, he was right on target. But it's very possible to see how Putin is implementing Gazera inside Russia, but it was necessary. But it depends, it's reflective upon how you describe Putin. Is he a madman? Is he a fanatical? Is he a new version of Hitler? Or is he someone who's trying to make sure that Russia stays Russia? And Russia is self-reliant and not relying upon the rats. And, it depends.
When you think about that, if you're a leader of a country, that is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to protect the sovereignty of your people and your country. That's literally your job. It's like being a parent. You don't throw your kids under the bus to take care of somebody else's kids. It's just not right. I had somebody ask, two questions. One is farm claims, and two, what is Omega?
Well, farm claims goes back a long ways, and I'm not really that involved in it. They were farmers in World War II and after, I think, who got ripped off by the government/corporation, who took their lands and said, we'll pay you, and never did. That's the extent of what I know. You'd have to talk to Sheila about the rest of that, because I don't know that, and I don't pretend to. Omega is a program, a prosperity program that Clyde Hood was involved in, and various other folks, and it's a massive program. But people were investing through the banks, and they never recovered. They never got paid, and it's one of the major programs that was determined to be not settled, but delivered, documents delivered, etc., before they come see me. But again, we're talking about 2013. In fact, this was September 1st, 2013, that I was told all this stuff. And now it's 2022. And we're talking about a whole different ballgame right now. But the schedule is still somewhat the same. But I think what they're doing now is basically they've advanced the system inside the schedule. So I think actually right now the way it comes down is they're just going to go boom, here they are with the codes, and let's pay everybody and let's go.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this thing. Bulldog, birthday's next week. Let's get this thing done, Bulldog, just for your birthday. I like that one. Part of the there's more. There's more. There's original farm claims, Pigford farm claims, where they denied loans to black farmers for planting and land, you name it, a number of things where the entire reason they didn't get them was because of the color of their skin. So that's part of the settlements as well. They're called Pigford. Those are real easy to look up, guys, if you ever have any question on the Pigford claims. There is a whole lot. I can't imagine how many experts it would take to unravel this entire quilt or rug or whatever you want to call this fabric of the reset.
I want to bring something else up, Mark. I wasn't going to, but I am now. I know a lot of people don't know who I am, or at least the new people, and that's all well and good. I've been around for 32 years in this business and getting ripped off. But I've noticed just recently, and I know I called you, and probably at an inappropriate time, but um, the areas where I had listed on the internet through Al Hodges the the 4 or 5 affidavits that I put out called affirmations. They have now declared them to be forbidden. You can't read them, and they've shut them down basically. So at some point, Mark, I'd like to talk to you about setting up a new site where we can actually show this. And also, Scribd is now taken over the Michael Cottrell site, and they charge a fee for you to get something that's supposed to be for free, which I'm totally PO'd about. And I'd like to do this because these things are made to be put out there for people to look at and evaluate, not to pay someone else for. Not even to pay me, I don't care. But I'm very, very pissed that these rats have taken over these sites and have shut them down.
No, I'm with you. It's scary. And I've shared the sites a number of times, guys. Our own government is shutting down that free flow. I mean, we're talking about like affidavits, documentation, affirmations. That's how afraid of the information being out there, that people knowing what they have done is to them. It's tells me pretty much all you need to know.
Really, because there's information regarding the packet I sent to the White House about Cheney being a co-conspirator in an extortion operation against me and Delmarva Timber Trust. There's stuff in there about the ripoff of Delmarva Timber Trust. There's all kinds of things in there that are evidence. Even Leo Wanta's signature on there that people need to see that they shut down, and it's not right.
Yeah, big time. It's let's see, Vance's birthday. We do have a birthday or two. I just noticed the time. I guess that's going to be important. So yeah, this one really isn't one for you, but I've seen it asked a couple of times, so I'm just gonna throw it on your plate anyways. Do you think multiple family members will be allowed to do their exchanges at the same time? They're just worried about it. They want somebody there. Maybe they're older.
I don't see why not. I really don't. I don't see where, unless you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, I don't see the need for any real secrecy. What we're talking about is the transparency of the system. And basically, that's a personal decision. If you want family members there, I don't see why you can't have one, at least one. But not to take up time, but to be there to witness. I don't see a problem with that. Now, the exchange sites may have different rules, but as far as I can see, I don't see a problem.
All right, I've got the great ending question for you. Maddie B. Texas, is there anything we can do to assist this completion? Anything at all, even if it's mild, pull our money from the bank. I don't know, share more articles online, anything you can think of.
Well, sharing articles online is a good thing. Full disclosure is a good idea. Pulling money out of the bank, I would do that on a personal basis only because we may have a disruption caused by the rats, not because of the QFS system coming in. That's going to be pretty much seamless. I honestly don't see where the common folks, that includes me, can do anything right now to push the issue. It really is up to the Golden Dragon, Interpol, and those in charge, the military, etc., to ensure that when this thing happens, we're going to be safe, the money's going to be safe, and we can go through this without causing major disruptions. But I really don't know.
I do like that point, and I just want to emphasize it about pulling money out of the bank. It's not necessarily that your money's not safe there, but it could get tied up during the rollover, which makes perfect sense. Let's just say there's any kind of hiccup, or the deep state's willing to throw any kind of curve it can with a uh, pulling down internet or something like that. How are you going to function if you only have digital currency? That part makes sense, Mr. C. Huge sense to me.
Well, thank you. Other than that, Mark, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you while you're down in sunny Puerto Rico. I was down there in '75 when I was on the America. It's a beautiful area, very, very beautiful. Nice blue water that you can almost see to the bottom. So I envy somewhat that you are, and I'm up here. I still have snow on my step out here, melting. So anyway, I thank you for the opportunity, and unless we're paid this weekend or early next week, I shall see you next Friday.
Sounds good. Thank you for taking the time, Mr. C.
You too. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, the illustrious Mr. Cottrell. Birthdays, let's do them. Then I get a late breakfast / early lunch or whatever you call it. Heck, at this point, it's pretty much just lunch. So they tell me it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, darling. May you live, may you love. May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Enjoy advance and anybody else that is enjoying a birthday today. I've not gotten in touch. Somebody just asked me if I got in touch with Mike Maloney. I've not reached out. He would probably have absolutely no idea who I was, even if I did. But I do. I think I will reach out. Also, hopefully, we will have Rumble for the next one. Don't know what time to tell you. I am expecting to do an evening one. Things happen very different schedule in Puerto Rico, so even some meetings go late. I don't know if I can do a 7 o'clock. I will make certain that I put it up, create an event on YouTube ahead of time so you guys know what's going to happen. And if one's not going to happen, I will tweet and let you know. Just please be versatile over this next week as we get through it. Hey, little nephew's birthday, 2 years old today. That is awesome. Happy birthday. Big time missing Annabelle. Big time. She hasn't called me yet, but I'm certain she will soon. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.